भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ज्ञानस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 7 चैप्टर 9 वर्स 43। नैवोद्विजे परदुरत्यय वैतरण्यास् वीर्यगायन महामृतमग्नचित्तः सोचेततो विमुखचेतस इन्द्रियार्था माया सुखाय भरमुद्वहतो मूढ़ान्। Best of great personality, not all afraid of materialism. For wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in the thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for me happiness and maintaining these societies and countries. I'm simply concerned with love for them. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, wherever I stay, I'm fully absorbed in thoughts of your grace and activity. But my concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness. I'm simply concerned with love for them. So this is real love. To be concerned about others' spiritual progress. People think that love means material love. No, but this is love on the spiritual platform, to be concerned about their spiritual progress. And saying that who are making plans for material happiness, fools and rascals. So many important things in this verse. For the entire world, everyone is making big plans to adjust the miseries of the material world, and this is true at present in the past. Nonetheless, although they make elaborate political, social, and cultural plans, described herein as Vimudha, material world has been described as Dukkalam or Shashvatam, but these fools are trying to turn the material world into Sukhalam, not knowing how everything acts by the arrangement of material nature, which works in her own way. Kartaham iti matte ahankara vimudhatma. One is full of false ego. Vimudhatma is bewildered. He thinks that he is actually doing things which are actually being carried out by nature. So whatever material activities that are happening in this material world are actually being by material nature, by the three gunas. They are doing it using the body as the media, as the via media. Body is the instrument. The doer actually is material nature. The Atma is not doing anything. Atma only desires. Atma desired to enjoy independent. So then sequence of chain of reactions, actions and reactions happen, which are all being carried out by material nature. Body is used as an instrument. So one who is in knowledge doesn't think that he is the doer. Thinks that it is being done through his body. Because we know that it's the consciousness which is important. Contaminated consciousness results in material end. So we should try to purify our conscience through bhakti. That's all we can do. There's a plan for material nature, personally known as Durga, to punish the demons. Although the asuras struggle for existence, they are directly attacked by goddess Durga, who is well equipped with 10 hands with different types of weapons. She is carried by a lion carrier, modes of passion and ignorance. Everyone struggles very hard to fight through the modes of passion and ignorance and conquer material nature. At the end, everyone is vanquished by nature. Even for devotees, it's difficult to conquer modes of passion and ignorance. But of course, by bhakti, it's all. Bhakti is very powerful. There is a river known as Vaitarini between the material and spiritual worlds, and one must cross this river to reach the other side or the spiritual world. It's an extremely difficult task. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Daivesha Gunamahima Mamaya Duratyaya, this divine energy of mine, difficult to overcome. Is the same word Duratyaya, meaning very difficult, is used here. Therefore, one cannot surpass the present laws of material nature except by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, although all materialists are baffled in their plans, they try again and again to become happy in this material world. Why materialists? Even devotees try this. Actually, that means that we have not actually come to the stage of devotion. And we are still acting like materialists, trying again and again to become happy in this material world. Therefore, first class fools. As for Prahlad Maharaj, he was not at all unhappy, for although he was in the material world, he was full of Krishna consciousness. And so we should not be unhappy. If we are in Krishna consciousness, we will not be unhappy about our material life. If you are not in Krishna consciousness, then we'll be unhappy. Those who are Krishna conscious, trying to serve the Lord, are not unhappy. Whereas one who has no assets in Krishna consciousness and is struggling for existence is not only foolish, but extremely unhappy also. Allada was happy and unhappy simultaneously. He felt happiness and transcendental bliss because of his being Krishna conscious, yet he felt great unhappiness for the fools and rascals who make elaborate plans to be happy in this world. Hmm. This is very important. Then, Prahlad Maharaj is a very exalted state. And he is fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Fully absorbed. Oh. For which we have to make tremendous progress. We have to go past Anartha Nivrutti. Then we have to come to Nishta. Then Ruchi. Then Asakti. Rati or Bhava. Then Prema. Then there are still higher platforms. Ana, Prema, Sneha, Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, Mahabhava. So like this, there are stages beyond what we know as Prema. Those devotees who reach this stage of Bhava, Prema, they are fully absorbed in thoughts of. So he had reached that stage. Though he had reached that stage, he is still compassionate towards other jivas. So this is Uttamadhikari. This is Uttamadhikari, the topmost devotee. But still, the topmost devotee, actually, topmost devotee cannot see anybody as non-devotee. He sees everybody in some capacity serving the Lord. But then he has to come down to Madhyamadhikari stage. See who is doing devotion, who is not doing devotion. So Prahlad was in that. And so he had come down to Madhyamadhikari stage. So he was actually Uttamadhikari. So he's simply concerned with love for people who are generally just making elaborate. This is what happens, right? When we are chanting, making plans for the day, for the week, for the month, for rest of the year, for rest of life. Don't even know whether we're going to be alive. But a Krishna conscious person is happy. Is very important. He's not affected by his material conditions. Mhm. And if we chant Hare Krishna properly, then we will be happy. Mm. Mm. If you're unhappy, that means that our chanting is not good. It means our consciousness has not got purified. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very alert in chanting. We have to understand that majority of our Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what is the most important way to make progress? He says chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in what mood should we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? We have to chant in the mood of Krishna, the peaceful, very humble state of mind. Not thinking of that we are something important. Unfortunately, all of us, you know, maybe few exceptions, we just think that we have achieved something. What have we achieved? We don't know. We can't quantify. And actually, when we think about it, we have not achieved anything. But still, we think we are superior to others. It could be as simple as, okay, I can sweep the floor better than others. So I'm superior. We are so foolish. We're so foolish. So unless we are able to chant in this humble state of mind, we are not actually chanting at all. So then we will not be happy. I was reading yesterday saying that, when we are not chanting properly, then we become attracted to mundane music, movies, shopping, material life. We get attracted towards material life just because we are not chanting properly. Mm. So chanting has to happen in the association of devotees. So this is very important. That is the reason why Prabhupada gave morning program, chant in front of in association of devotees, especially those who are struggling with that chanting. They should not chant alone because then there's not going to be much improvement in that chant. And we can understand saying that, if we are chanted nicely, then we should be in a state of happiness. And by this chanting, actually, all our material miseries anyway go also. But not that we should not chant with the desire to get rid of all our, then it won't happen. But if we simply chant for the pleasure of the Lord, then all our material miseries also go. Hmm. But Prahlad Maharaj is not that he is not chanting properly. This is advanced stage of devotion where the devotee is thinking for both the welfare of others. Spiritual anxiety, spiritual distress is a very key part or integral part of our devotion that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. Being unsatisfied with the devotion we are doing, feeling separation from Radha and Krishna, and feeling unhappy, distress is there in devotion, but that distress is different. So materially, a devotee is not unhappy. Spiritually, he might be. But materially, he's happy. Meaning he's not really too much bothered about his material. Why? Because he's always chanting Hare Krishna, and Hare Krishna gives happiness. For us to experience that happiness, we have to do attentive chanting. We have to do attentive chanting. Mhm. If we do inattentive chanting, then we are not going to experience. So, like, very important. Don't waste time making plans for happiness. Soul is not satisfied by any amount of plan making. Soul is simply satisfied when we attentively chant and hear. Soul becomes Yayatma Suprasidati. So focus on chanting. Ayena deva munaya swami mukti kama maunam charanti vijanena parartanishtaha naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Lord Narasimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they're interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with Mauna Brata. They're not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter, lotus feet. Mm. Not caring for big cities and towns. We should not go to Vrindavan. We should not go to Himalayas. We should not go and sit in holy places when we have uh, the time and energy to go and preach. We should be interested in delivering others. Like I was saying, you might say, no, 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 but I am only not delivered. Yes, but if you become interested in delivering others, you will also get delivered. Mm. Without taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one cannot be. Taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet means chanting Hare Krishna. Actually, very interesting perspective I heard as I read yesterday. Krishna de Tumar, Krishna dite paro, O Vaishnava Thakura. And so in that song, Krishna se Tumar, Krishna dite paro. So what is it saying? Krishna is yours, and Krishna can give you can give Krishna to others. So what is initiation? Initiation is Guru is giving Krishna to us by giving us beads in our hands. Because beads means Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not different from Krishna. So Guru actually gave Krishna to us. Now we are so unfortunate, we are not taking it. We got initiated, we took the Nama, but we are not serious about it. So we got Krishna, but we didn't get Krishna, or we don't want Krishna. Hmm. This is the decision of the Vaishnava, the pure devotee of the Lord. For himself, he has no problems, even if he has to stay in this material world, because his only business is to remain consciousness, remain in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person can go even to hell and still be happy. Naivodvijay para duratyaya vaitaranya. I'm not at all afraid of material existence. Pure devotee is never unhappy in any condition of life. He's not afraid of material existence. Narayana para sarve na kutashchana bidyate. Gopavarga punarakeshu api tulyartha darshinaha. Tulya, everything is same. Whether heavenly planets or hell or liberation, same. Why? Because they're just interested in service wherever they are. Na kutashchana bibyati. There's nothing to fear. Oh, Narayana Para. Narayana Para means always thinking about Krishna, always engaging in Krishna. For a devotee, being situated in the heavenly planets and being in the hellish planets are equal. For a devotee lives neither in heaven nor in hell, but with Krishna in the spiritual world. How is this possible? How does a devotee live with Krishna in the spiritual world? How does he live with Krishna in the spiritual world, even though he was in hell or heaven? Hmm?
Because he is in constant touch with Krishna.
Yeah, by chanting Hare Krishna all the time.
Yeah.
Simply by chanting Hare Krishna all the time, we are not in this material world. Attentive chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra means we are not in this material world. We are actually in the spiritual world. The secret of success for the devotee is not understood by karmis, jnanis. Karmis therefore try to be happy by material adjustment. Jnanis want to be happy by becoming one with Supreme. Devotee has no such interest. He is not interested in so-called meditation in Himalayas or forest. Rather, his interest is in the busiest part of the world, where he teaches people Krishna. Krishna conscious movement was started for this purpose. We do not teach one to meditate in a secluded place, just so that one may show that he has become very much advanced and may be proud of his so-called transcendental meditation, although he engages in all sorts of foolish materialistic activity. Someone like Prahlada is not interested in such a bluff of spiritual advancement. Sitting at home is equivalent to this. Not going out. Just sitting at home and doing our devotion is equivalent to this. Sitting in a secluded place and meditating. Rather, he is interested in enlightening people in Krishna consciousness because that is the only way for them to become happy. Isn't it? Our devotees experience this, right? With the book distribution, they were also happy. Nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. One wanders within this universe, life after life, but by the grace of a devotee, a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can get the clue of Krishna consciousness. And then not only become happy in this world, but also return home back. So it is the grace of a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Krishna consciousness is spread to others, is given to others. So that is the path of real happiness. So we talk about all this finally, path to happiness, etc. What is it just the end of the day saying chant Hare Krishna. Be in the association of devotees, chant Hare Krishna. That's all. That is the real target in life. Members of the Krishna consciousness movement are not a lot interested in so-called meditation. They're not interested in opening many schools for yoga and meditation. Rather, every member of Krishna consciousness movement is interested in going door to door to try to convince people about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, teachings of. This is the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement. If we didn't know, this is the purpose. Door to door, go meet people, convince people, convince people. But when we are convincing people, we should also look happy. We should be happy because we are doing the best service for Krishna. And people should become surprised looking at us, saying that, hey, how are these people so happy? Then they will ask, oh, what is the secret of your happiness? We should reach that stage where people just look at us and they see us happy and they associate with us and they feel happiness. Then they'll be like, oh, wow, I mean, this is amazing. I want to be with these devotees. So we can imagine, we can just think how far we are from this stage. Hmm. First of all, very few of us are going out. Second, even if we go out, we are still, not, yeah, we're not really happy. You're doing it, oh, somebody's telling you. But if we do go, if we do our bhakti properly, then we'll be happy. Then we go out, then people, that happiness rubs off on people. It should be genuine. Mm. Smile on our face, our energy should be positive. It should be genuine. All this will happen simply if you are chanting Hare Krishna properly. Members of the Krishna consciousness movement must be fully convinced that without Krishna, one cannot be happy. We should be fully convinced about this. Then we'll feel, oh, no, 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 then I have to give Krishna to this person who doesn't have a Krishna in his life. Hmm. But then the Krishna conscious person avoids all kinds of pseudo spiritualists, meditators, for which we should have some discrimination. Nowadays, devotees are losing discrimination. They go on the internet and hear whatever, anything where somebody is speaking about Krishna, they will hear as authentic. Hmm. What to do? Now this new AI havoc. AI is creating videos on Bhagavad Gita. And, people are getting hooked onto it. Another danger. And we had pseudo human spiritualists, transcendentalists. Now we have machines also becoming like pseudo transcendent. So we need real devotees, real devotee voice to reach out, not a machine thinking that it can give Bhagavad Gita. So we have to put effort. Very important verse. Yanmaitunadigrame sukam hi tucham kanduya menena karayoriva dukkha dukkham tripyanti neha kripana bahu dukkha bhajaha kandutivan manasidam vishaheta dhiraha. Very, very important. Sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Please understand this. Rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. So we might rub, sometimes the itch might increase, sometimes the itch might go down. These so-called grihasthas who have no spiritual knowledge think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness. That is, means sex life is the greatest platform of happiness. Although it is a source of distress. Why? Because this whole world is just existing in existence because of this. The Kripanas, the fools who are just opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Repeated. Those who are Dhira, however, who are sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. Of course, for men, they should try to tolerate this itching so that they don't have to enter Grihastha life. And for everybody who enters Grihastha life, this itching should be entertained only for producing children. I was surprised. I saw somewhere saying that sexual engagement with wife is not considered illicit. Mm. It may not be considered illicit, but it is sinful, right? It is sinful because it's sense gratification. Right? Otherwise, why would we have the four regulative principles? So it just means that we are still in a fallen state. We are still affected by this itching. Those who are dhira, they are sober and they tolerate this itching. And we have to come to this platform of dhira. Otherwise, how can we achieve Krishna? And but this topic again is not talked in conscious societies because People are afraid, saying that, when we are preaching, if we tell people this, then nobody will become devotee. But it is our duty to tell them because we want them to come out of all forms of sense enjoyment. We should not be at least in misconception, saying that it's okay to engage in, without wanting children, engaging in sexual activity with, between husband and wife is okay. No, it's not okay. Materialists think that sexual indulgence is the greatest happiness in this material world, and therefore they make elaborate plans to satisfy their senses, especially the genitals. The whole household business is mostly for this, for materialists. See, whatever we are talking is for materialists. Please understand, for devotees who are doing it as a matter of duty, it's not applicable for them. Mm. It is generally found everywhere and specifically found in the Western world. Why specifically found in the Western world? Today, unfortunately, it's there even in India, where there are regular arrangements to satisfy sex life in different ways. Actually, however, this has not made anyone happy. Even the hippies who have given up all the materialistic comforts of their fathers and grandfathers cannot give up the sensational happiness of sexual sex life. Hippies, they were indulged in illicit sex. And Prabhupada went there. They had given up everything else, but they could not give up this. Such persons are described here as kripanas, misers. The human form of life is a great asset, for in this life one can fulfill the goal of existence. Unfortunately, however, because of lack of education and culture, we, we don't have this culture and education. People are victimized by the false happiness of sex. And please understand that this doesn't have to be just gross sex life. It's also this craziness about family, Attachment to family is also extension of this sex life. Prahlada therefore advises one not to be misled by the civilization of sense gratification, and especially not by sex life. Rather, one should be sober, avoid sense gratification, and be Krishna conscious. And we will get attracted towards all this if we are not sufficiently Krishna conscious. What does sufficiently Krishna conscious mean? That we are not chanting properly. That's all. Simple. Lusty person who is compared to a foolish miser never gets happiness by sense gratification. The influence of material nature is very difficult to surpass. But as stated, Mameva ye prapadyante. We have to surrender to Krishna. If one voluntarily submits to the lotus feet of Krishna, he can be saved very easily. So, in reference to the low grade happiness of sex life, Manacharya says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padaravinде nava nava rasa dhamanudhyata rantumasit tada tadavadhi batanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishtivanam cha. Since I've been engaged in transcendental loving service of Krishna, not some mechanical, forceful devotional service. Transcendental loving service, realizing ever new pleasure in Him. So one experiences ever new pleasure in Krishna. Whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought. My lips curl with distaste. Yamunacharya had formerly been a great king who enjoyed sexual happiness in various ways, but since he later engaged himself in the service of the Lord, he enjoyed spiritual bliss and hated to think of sex. Sexual thoughts came to him, he would spit with disgust. Very, very tall orders. Very tall order. So we should understand, at least we should understand, saying that, okay, if we are still affected by this itching, then we still have sufficient progress to make. Sufficient. And no amount of involvement will give any kind of happiness. It's just itching. Of course, when there is itching and you scratch, then you feel happy. That's all. But then again, there will be itching after. Elsewhere in Bhagavatam, it says that, just also this Apuri Manama Chala Pratishtam Samudra Mapa Yadvat. Tadvatyam kamayam pravishanti sarve antim apnoti na kama kami. One who is trying to fulfill his desires will not be peaceful in life. But Bhagavatam says that sometimes, there should be like overindulgence. Then overindulgence in something material will then it'll become like, we had too much of it, and then we'll say, oh my God, enough. But the safest path is uh, to engage in loving devotional service, or at least to chant attentively. Forget about loving devotional service is far off, for at least I can say of myself. But at least I can try to chant Hare Krishna attentively. I can try to chant Hare Krishna attentively. This one thing can make a big difference in our consciousness, in what is giving us happiness. And then we'll realize saying that low grade material happiness is not actual real happiness, because we will come to experience spiritual bliss. Mm. And one of the other things which is also recommended is daily kirtan. Actually, this is something that we want to do in our centers. Yes, daily there should be kirtan, because it actually is beneficial both for devotees and for newcomers. So daily there should be some slot for kirtan. This apart from chanting. Because for those who don't have taste for chanting, taste for kirtan will result in taste for chanting over a period. But then we should first develop taste for kirtan. And kirtan means not all kinds of raga and tala. Just simple tunes which people know again and again. They should repeat easily without having to think about the raga tala. Then the focus will be on the nama, and then people should get attached to the nama, attracted to the nama. So even kirtan is very powerful. Mm. Mm. And of course, then we will develop taste for. And for those who don't have taste for japa, then kirtan engagement, daily kirtan, important. Daily kirtan means that it's not that we should not sit. We don't have to sit with the mic in the hand. Mm. Some people think that okay, no, only if I have mic in the hand am I doing kirtan. Why? Mic in the hand means we just want to show off. Mm. Of course, if you're given service, then it's fine. But if you're not getting got service, we don't have the mic in front of us. We have to stand just without mic in front of us. We should be extremely happy to do that also. Mm. So Kirtan Hare Krishna is our only option. Mm. Otherwise, these things are too difficult, very difficult, very difficult. Mm. Okay. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yeah.
Dandavat pranam.
Pranam
So,
Prabhu.
so Prabhu, yeah. So, uh, based on today's passage, and I was also listening from Srila Prabhupada. I mean, about the, uh, uh, I was listening to a lecture from chapter 3 about karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, yeah, I mean, Srila Prabhupada was also insisting, I mean, see, he was referring to this verse, Karyatehi avasaha karma, sarvaha prakriti jair gunair. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to act. They don't, it's not that he cannot act or you should not cease to act. So as per your, whatever the nature it is. And then Prabhupada is also mentioning, yeah, it's not recommended to go to Himalayas or some secluded place and meditate and just work on your own deliverance. And Prahlad Maharaj is also stating the same here in this today's reading, right? So we should not neglect big towns and cities and just go to secluded places and
Yeah.
you know Uh, so I mean, Prabhupada also mentioned that. I mean, like, yeah. So you are a better yogi if you stay in the cities and still spread this message of Krishna consciousness, right? So,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then on the other hand, we're also saying that. Again, it's instruction of Prabhupada also. Like, we're saying establish this varnashrama dharmas. Get out of this
Hmm.
hellish
Yeah.
life, in
Yeah.
cities, because we are experiencing that hellish life day in day
Yeah.
out,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, on one hand, we're also encouraging people to get out of this hellish form of life and get into simple living, high thinking farm communities and all, right? So
Hmm.
that instruction was also given, right? So
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
establish one national. So how do we uh, understand this conflict here?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, we're saying stay in the cities. On the other hand, we're saying, get out of this hellish life. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, solution is reasonably simple. The setting up a farm community is first thing is we have to understand that it's a form of preaching as well, not just for
Mm,
our own spiritual progress, but it's also a form of preaching because
mm,
when people come to the farm and see devotees happy, then they'll
mm,
be like, I also want to come here. Right. Second thing is that Varnashrama is not just for, see, not everybody is going to come to devotion. One of the reasons why Prabhupada wanted Varnashrama was to give a Krishna conscious vritti occupation. Right.
mm,
So people who have to earn a living, etc., can they be attracted towards this simple earning methodology? More
mm,
sattvic earning methodology, wherein they're coming, they're staying in a farm, they might do some work there, and they'll earn money, they'll eat, and they'll. So it's a way of giving alternate occupation also. Right? Now,
yes.
third thing is that for devotees, the farm communities also should be positioned or situated in such a way that weekends becomes
Mm,
preaching time. Right. So there'll be two types of preaching. One is you come to the city and tell people saying that, hey, see, there is this farm. Come over and spend a weekend there. And experience what it is to be really simply happy. Right. That is one.
mm,
So then there'll be some devotees who can possibly take care of that being in the farms. And then there are others who are in the city who are bringing people to these farms, and of course for which you have to connect with people, you have to preach, so you should have some preaching days, right? So
yes.
preaching has to continue both in the city and in the farms, and farm should be a means of preaching, right? Not retirement for devotees. um, right, of course sometimes some farms might be so interior that it might be difficult, but still there should be brahmanas identified or preachers identified whose weekend seva is coming back to the city. Right, so Friday night they'll
Yes.
come back to the city, then Saturday, Sunday they'll do preaching, then again Monday they'll go back. Because anyway, Monday to Friday, you anyway don't get anybody else, right? You don't get all the people who are stuck in software jobs and corporate people. You're not going to get them. Right? So Saturday, Sunday is full time, dedicate full time, right? Book distribution. And then, yeah, so various models can be adopted. Depends on, yeah, what is the intention, yeah, but these
Okay.
are the three things that came to my mind.
Sure, bro. I mean, it makes sense now because, yeah, it's not just staying comfortable in farm. I mean, the goal, as long as the goal is to come back to preaching, right? So I think it makes sense now.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Anybody? Okay. We'll close. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Chala Prabhupada. Jai Vanta Kalpatarubhyash. Anam Pavane Vishnu Namo Namananda Koti Vaishnavanda ki jai Samahita Gaurava.